What up, everybody? Welcome back again. It's Tale of the Tape, brought to you by Gym Bag Entertainment. As always, it's your host, Craig, here with my co-host.
Your outraged orchestrator, Michael Johnson.
All right. So we're going to jump right into some news. And the latest in combat sports is Jake Paul signed the contract with Mike Tyson, and the two of them are going to fight.
This is why I'm outraged.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, we don't care too much about Jake Paul, but we certainly love Mike Tyson.
Yes.
And I guess they're signed to fight July 20th. I don't know if it's full on or exhibition or what. It's going to be aired on Netflix.
Okay.
Guess
if it's a charity event, I love it.
Yeah.
But if it's a legitimate boxing match, I hate it.
I don't know if I like it, even if it's like an exhibition.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike's 57 years old, and I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I'm kind of outraged that it's even a thing.
Exactly. My thing is, Jake Paul wants to solidify himself as a genuine boxer, and I thought he took at least a step in the right direction, fighting Fury. Then he fights this other boxer who nobody knows his name, who obviously wasn't very good, but he gets a first round KO, and it's a step in the right direction. Start fighting actual boxers of your level and of your ability, of your time in the game, with the amount of training you've had. Fight those guys and work your way up the ladder to get to wherever you want. You say one day you hope to be champion, and this isn't how you get it. You're just a show fighter.
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to not talk about him until he did something like that, but now we have to because it's Mike.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I hope Mike's okay. I hope he gets a big bag of money, and I hope nothing happens to him.
I mean, I believe that. I will say I actually watched, or at least listened to the episode of a Hot Box podcast, and Jake Paul was on it, and a lot of respect was shown from Mike.
Oh, I'm sure. How do you not?
Yeah, exactly. And so I did think it was weird that they're going to fight each other, because I thought, so I think maybe it's going to be more of an exhibition or a charity thing, more for entertainment, less for the the purpose of boxing as a sport.
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange, but I'm sure we'll be talking more about it.
Exactly. So we'll see if that, even if it does, the paperwork's been signed, so you got to believe it is going to happen. And if Netflix is backing it, then
yeah, that's a different one.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. We'll see about it.
We will see. Something I wanted to bring up on the show. If you're familiar with combat sports and UFC, then the name Conor McGregor rings out throughout the world, right? And UFC 300 was supposed to be headlined by Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. They were supposed to fight previously, all due to the fact that they were the coaches on The Ultimate Fighter.
Yes.
But the first time around, Conor couldn't enter into the testing pool.
Right.
And, a lot to be said about that, he's healing from a leg break. So obviously steroids is a part of that.
Right.
Plus he's in the big Roadhouse movie, bulking up, wanting to look swole for the movie. I get that as well.
Right.
So he wasn't ready. Then he's not ready for 300. You don't know if he's going to fight. And I just think it's I'm not excited for Conor McGregor fights anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't get me hyped. Of course, we'll always just have to watch it, just because it's Conor. It's a hit for the Ultimate Fighter, I think. That we didn't get the coaches to fight. That's a big thing. I don't think he stands a good chance against Chandler at this point in his career, being off that long, trying to cut back down in weight. I don't know what he's doing.
I don't see Conor as competition for anybody in the top 10 of almost any weight class he could fight, that he's able to fight at. At this point, I feel like the only thing that's exciting for Conor McGregor are legacy fights, and maybe Michael Chandler comes across as a legacy fight. Tony Ferguson, a guy he was supposed to fight a long time ago, or Rafael Dos Anjos. Those are fights that that we missed out on, that I would enjoy watching. I actually would, if I want to see Conor McGregor fight, I almost think it makes more sense for him to box against guys who aren't necessarily so great anymore. Like the Pacquiao fight, you know.
Especially the way that boxing is. I mean, he's got a way to jump right in there. I mean, you know, you don't have to fight the best of the best anymore.
Exactly.
In boxing, you can box whoever and make a bunch of money. But I'd love to see him fight again. I don't know what he's doing.
In all reality, with Conor being the type of star that he is, I feel like the most logical route for him is the WWE.
It's strange, but I think he would be a huge star.
Like the way he runs his mouth, I don't believe he couldn't be any more perfect. He's already juicing it up, swole as hell.
Right.
You got your big mouth. You've got the you got the charisma and the swag. All you have to do is work on that talent that they have there.
It's interesting.
And I think he would be an amazing star in the WWE. Yeah. But as far as an MMA star, I feel like the name of Conor McGregor is all that's left. And why not capitalize on that in a way that's not going to see you getting your butt kicked?
Or perhaps just straight into the movies, you know. We'll see how good this part in the Roadhouse movie is.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe we'll see the actor Conor McGregor.
Maybe we will.
What makes more money than that?
Yeah, true.
You know, and you ain't getting hurt.
No, you don't have to take no punches to the face.
And you can be killing as many guys as you want in the movies.
I think it might be cool to see Conor as an action star.
I like the idea of that, you know.
So, I don't know what's to come for Conor McGregor, but, you know, I am not excited as I used to be for fights for him.
No, not for so much for him in the UFC.
Yeah. I also believe it's time for Michael Chandler to move on as well. Like, I mean, if the fight is going to happen at some point, cool, but look how long you've been out of the octagon waiting for this fight, and there's so many guys you could be taking on, but you're waiting for this one big payday.
I agree, and I mean, we understand what he's waiting for. You know, you fight Conor McGregor, it comes with a huge bag of money, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the decision should be there for Chandler, you know? I almost kind of agree, wait for that bag. I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's tough. It's not like he's on a win streak. You know, he's on a nice little losing streak. You know, he's got the win versus Tony Ferguson, the KO, but, you know, all the other top 5 guys he fought, he got beat up pretty good. So
I mean, like you said, the last fight he even won was against a washed up Cowboy Cerrone. So I don't see a good future for Conor McGregor in the UFC. I mean, but even commentating, you know, I feel like he has a great mind for UFC. As a commentator, I wouldn't mind listening to him because I feel like, you know, as much trash as he talks, he is very respectful on the mic. You know, once the fighting's over with, he's respectful on the mic and he knows how to talk the fight game. So I wouldn't even mind hearing him in that capacity as well. But I do think that if he can't act, WWE is the next move for him. All right, moving on. We got to talk about this fight. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Taila Santos.
Okay, yeah.
So, Taila Santos, former flyweight contender, fought for the belt against Valentina Shevchenko, a fight I believe, and I feel like a lot of people believe that she won hands down.
Very close,
but lost to a decision. And then fights Emily Blanchfield for the number 1 contendership. Another fight, which I have a hard time believing she lost, but this one was a little bit closer in my opinion, but I have a hard time believing she lost that fight, but she lost. And then in a shocking move a few months ago, UFC releases Taila Santos in a move that makes absolutely no sense in a division where she was ranked at the top and only lost, you know, technically to the top 2 girls in the division, and has now signed a deal with the PFL. So
I mean, I like it for PFL. Just continues to bolster their roster. It makes me wonder, did the PFL, you know, send her a proposal ahead of time, knowing that her contract with the UFC was going to be up, and you know, and maybe they offered her more, and but the UFC definitely cut her.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Or maybe it's a possibility the PFL told the UFC they think she's a star and they want her. Release her so we could sign her.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, maybe that was a backroom deal between the UFC and the PFL. Because it doesn't make sense. I mean, there's controversy that she won that fight, which means she's got to be top 2 to top 3
Right.
in that division. And
I
not
believe-
one fight she had was boring.
No, never. And I believe she was still ranked number 3. So,
Yeah. So it's just, I wish we could be made to understand the decision to cut her.
I feel like when it's a strange one like that, it's got to be some business thing.
Yeah.
You know, something behind the scenes, money orientated. Like, you know, she wasn't happy maybe, or she knew it ahead of time she could get some more money.
Yeah, yeah. And
You know.
a place, and maybe it was more on her. Maybe she was like, the decision making here at the UFC, the judging is terrible.
Right.
I don't want to fight here anymore. I want to fight somewhere where the judges make the right decisions.
And you know, maybe she's seen the easier pathway to a championship. Like,
Well,
lots of stuff.
However, whichever way it pans out, she definitely is a great fighter, and now another reason to get excited about watching a fight in the PFL.
Absolutely.
Because she is a stud. And then speaking of the PFL, we obviously had the champion versus champion event, and but what we did have today, obviously this is going to air a day or two after, but right before we came to the studio, PFL had the PFL Paris fight, which we would have told you about last week, but due to a family emergency, we weren't able to air last week, and so we weren't able to tell you about this upcoming event. But before coming here, there was a fight between Islam Mazraf versus Michael Grogu. So homeboy is from Dragon Ball Z? Is that what Grogu's? No, Grogu. No, Grogu is Mini Yoda.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Baby Yoda.
So Michael Grogu is this. He reminds me of old Derek Lewis or heavyweight. Jarrett Cannonier?
Okay.
Kind of big and
little sloppy.
Yeah, a little sloppy, but definitely solid. And Islam Mazraf, very well built guy, very athletic. And during the initiating, when they're saying, "Fighter, are you ready? Fighter, are you ready?" Mr. Grogu is just moping back and forth, and it just looked kind of weird. Makes his way to the center of the octagon. They're meeting. They round each other, and he just slowly raises his hands, and Mazraf throws a left high kick to the head, and dude's knees buckle, ankles out, knees in, falls to his knees, and a banger of a right uppercut to the jaw puts him to bed. 10-second fight.
Grogu wasn't ready.
Grogu. I mean, was Grogu? Grogu. I mean, he couldn't have been ready.
I don't know.
It was super weird.
It's one to look at for sure.
Yeah, all the commentary to it was that no one understood what he was doing. Did he not want to be there? Was he trying to showboat and look like he didn't care in order to surprise this dude?
Yeah,
and got surprised himself.
Maybe he was waiting for the minute to explode. Just didn't get it.
Oh man, that's got to be embarrassing. If that's what you was hoping for, then congratulations, you got what you wanted.
Right.
If it wasn't, that is probably one of the worst showboats that has ever happened in combat sports, because man, it was pretty brutal.
Protect yourself at all times.
Protect yourself at all times. Be ready.
Yeah.
You can't be walking into an octagon the way you just did. It was super weird. I can't wait to hopefully hear some information about what this was about,
and bring some results from that card in general, because the main event there is one I'm slightly interested in, because Cedric Doumbé, he came over from the Glory Kickboxing. He was the longtime welterweight champion, and he's fighting against, let's go for this name, Basangir Chamzadinov.
Interesting. That's a name right there.
Yeah,
that's one of those ones I definitely wouldn't have said.
But we'll see how that one turns out. Doumbé 5-0 in the MMA since switching over from kickboxing.
Oh wow, really? Yeah. Okay. All right. In other news, Friday night, Francis Ngannou set to fight Anthony Joshua in a heavyweight bout. And this is another exciting fight. This is a boxing match that we actually want to turn the TV on and watch when it's going on.
Absolutely.
Francis Ngannou making his second fight in boxing, first fight against Tyson Fury. A lot of people will say that he won that fight. Other people say Tyson Fury won it. Some people believe Tyson Fury didn't give Francis Ngannou the benefit of the doubt, but then turned it on later on in the fight.
Yeah.
Some people think Francis Ngannou is just that dude. But in this fight, Anthony Joshua knows what to expect.
Yeah.
And I assume we'll be ready for Francis Ngannou.
I think this is a much better fight for Francis, honestly. Tyson Fury, real fast for a guy that size.
Yeah.
Real good length and real good footwork. But Anthony Joshua, more of a flat-footed guy, heavy puncher, and we know that doesn't fare too well against Francis Ngannou.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Anthony Joshua is a guy who will stand and bang with you.
And we've seen Anthony Joshua get dropped and finished, and I've never seen Francis Ngannou hurt.
Francis Ngannou does have the granite chin.
Yeah.
He is blessed. He is blessed with a granite chin. So I'm definitely excited to see how this fight plays out.
Yeah, I've seen Anthony Joshua get dropped with 14-ounce gloves, and Ngannou hasn't been hurt with 4-ounce gloves.
Yes, also true. Also true. And so yeah, like it's either gonna tell us one or two things. Francis Ngannou was lucky in having Tyson Fury not be prepared to fight him and made him look good.
Yeah,
or
perhaps.
Francis Ngannou is a boxer.
Right.
And what happens if Francis Ngannou wins this fight?
Right.
Does he go back to MMA?
I don't know. I don't know. Is the PFL going to match the money he's making in Saudi Arabia fighting these
Can
boxers?
they afford to?
I don't know.
I know there's something in Francis Ngannou's contract that says anybody he fights has to make a minimum of like $1 or $2 million.
So
that's a lot of money to have to pay the number one contender. Now we did see a guy from PFL,
yes,
heavyweight, knockout Ryan Bader, and he wants that fight. He wants to prove he's the best heavyweight in the world. Beating Francis Ngannou would do that. Does the PFL say, hey, listen, after this Anthony Joshua fight, you got to give us this one fight. You can box as many people as you want. Yeah, but you got to give us this fight.
Yeah, that's what I hope. Renan Ferreira, defeating Ryan Bader with in 12 seconds or something like that.
12 or 14, something like that.
He's a monster, huge man, power puncher. It's like Francis versus Francis.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a fight. It's a fight I would want to see at the very least.
Because then I think Francis will go strategic and probably take this guy down.
Yeah, honestly, just like he did with Cyril Gane.
So that's a very interesting fight, and I'd love to see him back in MMA.
Yeah, I mean,
but I want to see him knock out Anthony Joshua this weekend.
And that's the thing, either whether he wins by decision or knockout. I mean, I feel like that's going to lead to either a Deontay Wilder fight or a Tyson Fury rematch.
And then what makes you, then I don't know how you want to go back to PFL.
Yeah.
There's no way they can match
and
that type of money.
I always forget the other guy's name. Who's that guy that Tyson Fury was supposed to fight?
Oh, Usyk?
Usyk.
Yeah.
And then there's the Usyk fight.
Yeah.
So...
He's probably the most skilled out of the heavyweight champions.
Exactly.
In boxing. Yeah.
So you have all these guys lined up for Francis, and even if Francis lose, people still want to see him box.
And I don't know, it's done crazy things for opening maybe some of the best strikers from MMA coming right into boxing.
Yeah. I heard Jorge Masvidal wants to box Nate Diaz in a rematch rather than going to MMA. I've also seen, I know we didn't bring it up as something we would talk about, Jorge Masvidal wanting to make the return back to MMA or boxing.
I don't know if it's serious or not, but we know what a couple years off does.
Yes.
At that age too. I don't know.
Which means he's got to go back. I mean, which would only make sense for him to do boxing or to fight in his own promotion.
That's
game bred, bare knuckle MMA.
That's weird though, isn't it?
It is.
It's like you're the owner.
Well,
Or you're the face
since
of
you
it.
said it, I wasn't really gonna bring it up. Uriah Faber has A1 combat sports or
Is he
whatever,
fighting for
and
it?
he's coming out of retirement to fight in his own promotion.
Yeah.
So I mean, if
I like Gamebred's promotion, the bare knuckle style. Junior Dos Santos just became the first heavyweight
champ.
champion, beating
Yep.
Alan Belcher. You know?
and it's funny that you said that too. Alan Belcher was on the Schaub show.
Okay.
Because Brandon Schaub has been signed as a Gamebred commentator.
Okay.
So he's ringside commentating
that.
on the fight, and I guess Belcher had like a little bit of bad blood about the way they commentated the fight, right?
Okay.
And so like I said, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but since it kind of segued into that, and we do have time, I want to bring it up. So because I thought this was super weird. So Belcher Schaub, when he heard Belcher didn't like it,
Yeah.
and with that he was upset. He was like, "Man, I gotta give you your minutes. I want to, because he likes Belcher as a fighter. He's
Yeah.
a fan, and
Yeah.
he wants
I'm
him
a
to be able to
fan.
air his
Yeah.
grievance and maybe get better to do at doing whatever he's gonna be doing." So he calls him up, has him on the Zoom or whatever. I don't know. I'm listening on Spotify, and he's talking about it, and he's saying he's not making excuses.
Yeah.
But literally all he's doing is making excuses about the fight. He's not actually saying anything about what they said. And he's kind of doing that thing where he was like he was like, "Oh, it really wasn't you. It was really Black and this, that, and the other thing." But like it didn't seem like he was getting to the point. But what the main thing he was mad about was that there was like this slip from Dos Anjos, and then Belcher had thrown a leg kick, and he was mad that Black didn't mention it. He was like, a heavyweight throws a head kick, and you don't even say it. And then he said that Schaub said that Santos landed a bunch of punches, like he was like commentating on this series of punches, and he was like, "I slipped each and every one of them, and you're saying that they landed and this, that," and I'm like, "You sound like a crybaby right now."
It sounds like he's just mad he lost.
Yeah.
Right?
And he's like, "Oh, I'll be more prepared in another fight." Well, you should have been more prepared in this fight. He was like, he's big and strong in the wrestling and blah blah blah.
Everybody gets mad at the bad commentary, but it's only because you did poorly.
Yes.
I don't know what to say
Yeah,
about that.
I didn't see the
You're gonna get mad at a
commentating, so-
commentator for doing his job?
Yeah.
Like, if he's saying outlandish, crazy stuff, like really putting you down, there's a line.
Correct.
But if he's just commenting on how you're getting hit,
And and literally that's all he was saying was like, you didn't mention that a heavyweight threw a leg kick, and you said punches landed that didn't. We've been watching UFC together for a long time now. I know you've been watching fighting and involved in fighting even way longer than that. People sometimes think punches land that didn't land.
Absolutely. Or think that they're very significant when it was a graze, or you know what I mean? Sometimes it looks like a devastating punch and you turned your head through it.
Exactly.
And it didn't
Sometimes
even do anything.
Sometimes they think like a kick landed and it was really a headbutt or something. Like you're a human being looking through a cage.
And it's happening so fast.
Yeah.
Right. They don't get, the camera at home.
Yeah.
The
It's
TV's
inside
better.
the cage.
Yeah, we see better at
Yeah.
home on TV. Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty weird. Respect to Schaub for like letting him air his grievance.
No, I like that.
Out on his show.
And like you said, it could have made him better at what he was doing.
Yeah, and he did not take any piece of criticism in a negative way. He gave Belcher his little moment and didn't even argue with him or nothing. I gave Schaub mad respect in my mind for that one because if that had been me, I'd have been like, "Bro, you sound like a crybaby right now.
You sound upset. Yeah. I like that DC is sick of these dudes talking about him. About that, and he said, "I'm done hearing that. I'm not disrespecting you, but you're starting to try to disrespect me.
Because you forgot what I do.
And you forgot who I am. Like I wasn't a double champ. Like enough of that."
He got beef with Nate Diaz over that.
Right.
Nate Diaz called him the B word, said he ain't no real fighter, and it's like, come on, bro. Like, let's line up the accolades here, and let's see who's the real fighter. You know,
serious.
I love Nate, but now you're just being dumb.
Right. You got what,
got that CTE.
Got like 13 losses or something. DC lost 3 times his whole life.
It's insane.
Or only twice and won no contest or something. Like, come on.
So it's super weird. But then again, it's Nate Diaz,
and that's why they pick.
Clicks.
But that's why they pick commentators like that, because you know what, he does have the whatever to be able to point that out.
Yeah.
Like, his background says that he can commentate on your fight and tell you that you look bad.
Exactly.
He only lost twice.
Exactly. So, all right, let's move on. We got to, talking about Francis Ngannou and talking about Talia Santos, we had a PFL event.
Yes.
PFL versus Bellator, and now we get a chance to kind of recap that. Do you have the recap?
I was just going to go through the main card, just, the ones that are important.
Yeah.
We had 6 fights on the main card, Bellator versus PFL. Bellator won 5 out of 6.
I know. That's
crazy.
Cool, man.
Like some of the ones that I thought were going to be a bit, a contest really weren't. You had Vadim Nemkov stepping in for the light heavyweight champion, still submits the PFL guy Capelloza. I don't even know.
Yeah,
but Johnny Eblen defends. Jason Jackson defended, mostly by stoppage too. The Bellator guys were showing out.
Oh man!
Like,
what about the Santos versus
Yoel Romero got a unanimous decision against Thiago Santos.
Wow.
30-27 across the board. So
I
didn't watch that one, but I want to look into it.
Yeah.
It sounds like it might have been a snooze fest.
Yeah. I heard Yoel looked
though.
good in the fight, but we knew that it could possibly be just
like
that.
kicks and jabs.
Yeah. Two guys who know how hard they hit and not wanting to get into the box.
And when them guys have too many wars, and then it ends up like that. But Renan Ferreira, getting the PFL's lone win with that crazy knockout versus Bader.
It's got to hurt to be Bader to know that, you're the only one who didn't get the dub.
Yeah. He let Bellator down a little bit. But
it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about, we got some ONE FC news for us?
I do. We had just when I was saying last episode that they weren't focusing on the MMA, they shut me up with a card that I didn't know was happening. We had ONE FC on Prime in Qatar. We had a stack card of MMA, actually. This guy, Anatoly Malikin, he beat the middleweight champion, Reinier de Ridder, by TKO in the first round to make himself the first 3-division champion.
You know what? I felt like I knew that was the thing I wanted us to talk about, because I did hear about it. First triple champ. That's insane.
That's pretty serious.
Can you even defend?
I don't know. With he's a small heavyweight.
Yeah.
So they don't have like huge guys too much for heavyweights.
Okay.
So they don't got these big 265ers.
All right.
So I think at heavyweight he's fighting at like 235, like a Stipe Miocic type.
Okay. And Stipe Miocic was playing good.
But then he's coming down to light heavyweight and then down to middleweight. Like, I don't know. And I thought they had the dehydration restrictions in one.
I mean, maybe he did it the right way. Maybe it was dietary restrictions rather than water weight.
It must be. Hats off to him, though.
Yeah, but how do you go back up to heavyweight?
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah,
I'd have to think he's probably going to stay middleweight, light heavyweight.
Yeah,
But we had other title fights too. The featherweight unification bout between Tan Lei and Tang Kai. Tang Kai comes away as the undisputed featherweight champion, and Joshua Paggio. I gotta watch this one. I didn't see it, but Joshua Paggio won the strawweight title by disqualification in round 1.
Oof.
So that's interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't see
it. Yeah.
No.
Wow. Interesting.
But for a title,
strawweight division, they're a weight below, right?
I believe that it's the same as the UFC's flyweight division.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I think I remember us saying something about that before.
Yeah.
Interesting, super interesting. And go back to the PFL Bellator fight. One fight I did see the highlights of, and I just wanted to talk about something that was impressive, was the Clarissa Shields fight.
Yes. Yeah.
And she almost got armbarred. It was all the way in.
Yeah.
It was all the way in. She was fighting it really well, foot in the face and all that. It was nice.
Yeah, she was scrambling pretty well.
Yeah.
And it shows that she's wrestling quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, she's like Jake Paul, she's taking this move seriously.
She's not getting, well, she's way better than Jake Paul.
Way more seriously.
But you know, she's not fighting just strictly stand-up fighters and getting easy knockouts or anything. She's having to wrestle with ladies and coming out on the winning side.
Yeah,
So.
and because she gotta expect that that's what's gonna happen to her.
Right.
If they believe that's where your weakness lies,
They're all gonna shoot.
Yeah, even the lesser of the ground game fighters are gonna want to take you down.
Right.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, let's get into some UFC. We missed an event due to my medical emergency, so we got to talk about Moreno versus Royval for the #1 contendership. So let's just quickly go through the card. We had Eric Silva versus Muhammad Naimov, and Naimov takes the win by decision.
I don't
No, by KO. Sorry, it was a KO. For first round, 44 seconds.
Okay.
So this one was an early one.
Wow.
Then you have Victor Altamirano versus Felipe Dos Santos, and this was a split decision.
Yeah. Tough fight, good fight. Altamirano looked good.
And then you had Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Denise Bondar, and that was a second round submission.
Yeah. Okay. Who won that?
That was Rodriguez. That was the one where I think he got the rear naked choke. I think he went for it twice and got it the second time. That was an excellent fight.
Yeah.
This was probably one of the best fights of the night, in my opinion. It was a lot of back and forth. Very good fight. Then we had Fares Ziam versus Claudio Puelles. This was a split decision. Next, we had Edgar Chairez versus Daniel Lacerda, which was a first-round submission by Chairez.
Okay.
And then we have Jesus Aguilar versus Mateus Mondoka.
Yeah.
This was a split decision as well. Wow, a lot of split
there was
decisions.
hard-fought split decisions.
Yeah,
though.
these were excellent fights.
They weren't snoozers. They were just hard-fought to the bell. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a surprisingly good card.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
And then you had Christian Quinones versus Raoni Barcelos.
Yep, Barcelos.
This was a submission in the third round. Next, we had in the main card, we had Manuel Torres versus Chris Duncan, and this was a round 1 submission by Manuel Torres. Yasmin Waregui.
I'll take
Ragu versus Sam Hughes. This was a third round unanimous decision for the name Yasmin. In the lightweight division, you had Danielle Zella Hubbard versus Francisco Prado, and this was a third round decision unanimous. And then the main event and co-main event.
Did we miss one in the prelims? Hold on, I might be on a different card, but
what was the names?
Vinicius.
No, that's
Oliveira?
that's
from last week.
That's from last week.
Okay, all right.
Oh no, we ain't missing that fight.
Okay,
we ain't missing that fight. So.
Oh yeah, I don't have no prelims that stood out to me on this one.
I don't think there was any. So. In the featherweight division, co-main event, Yair Rodriguez versus Brian Ortega, and this fight looked to be over early, but ended up being a very, very good fight.
Yeah, Yair looked so good early on, fast. Ortega's always there to be hit. Not too big on footwork or head movement, but tough as nails.
Yeah.
Just eats shots and keeps coming. I thought it was going to be over before it started when he was jumping in the corner and rolled his own ankle.
That was so bad. When they showed
weird.
it, I don't even understand how it could have happened.
Crazy. But, Yair with a great first round. And Ortega just dealt with it. Came through. It wasn't really that he turned the tide anyway, technically. He just kind of outlasted him.
Yeah.
Looked like Yair just kind of...
Better ground game.
Just kind of couldn't deal with the top pressure.
It's kind of what we saw with Yair when he faced when he faced Frankie Edgar. You know, like he's not very good at guys who have good top pressure, top control. He's not very good with that. That's something he needs to work on.
Started eating shots from the top in round 2, and then round 3, Ortega again takes him right down.
Yeah.
You know, starts beating him up. Takes a nasty arm triangle. Held it a little long for the likes of Mark Goddard.
I feel like for the likes of anybody, he had to be told to let go 3 times before he let go, and
Goddard
then he's like,
was quite mad after.
Yes,
and Ortega even was a little scared. Like, I'm sorry.
He was like, my bad. But like, bro, when you get touched, let go.
He did say he was having ear problems for like the whole day, and he couldn't hear him. You know, but he was pulling on your arm.
Yes. When the ref touches you, puts hands on your body.
It took a couple pulls.
Yeah. So like, I feel like to be honest with you, I was a little annoyed by that because the ref puts hands on you as soon as you feel those hands. And you can feel the tap. Like, I don't care what anybody says. If someone's tapping on your body, and that's what you're waiting, and you're waiting for that moment, you're going to feel it. Yeah. That excitement's going to happen. I don't know if there's some sort of underlying bad blood between the two of these dudes.
I don't know, and I never looked at Ortega as a dirty fighter.
Me neither.
Or malicious, and he's always been real honorable.
Maybe that position had him thinking about Volkanovski getting out of it and not wanting that. Yeah. He was like, I got to get it twice.
That's true. Like, I can't let this submission go. I got to make sure.
Yeah, I want to feel his body go limp. But this should have, by all means, set up the championship fight between him and Ilia Topuria.
I would have to think.
But he gets on the mic and says, I'm not going to give you guys a show, and says that Volk deserves the belt, but if he doesn't want to take the fight, then I guess I'll take it. And it's like, bro, no one, like, you're not exciting anybody.
That's not how you cut a promo.
Yeah. Like, how long have you been in the UFC? And how long of a layoff did you just have due to injuries? Like, make it known that you want this fight and that you believe you can win this fight.
It sounds like he feels he's not ready.
Yeah.
You know?
And to be honest with you, what I saw in this fight, I don't believe he is ready.
No, I don't think so either,
because if Ilia puts hands on you the way that Yair was putting hands on you, you're going into the shadow realm.
Probably.
So, and Yair Rodriguez was the more exciting competition.
Yeah.
So.
And what a great fight.
Yeah. Now, this makes me want to see Sean O'Malley versus Ilia Topuria even more. Volk needs to take time off. I don't care how badly he wants his belt back.
I agree.
He needs time. He has 2 knockouts in a row. It's time to take some time and recover. Let's get that Sean O'Malley versus Ilia Topuria.
Well, I mean, I'm all with, a champion defending his belt before he goes for the double champ status.
Yeah.
So,
Well, technically he would. It would be Sean O'Malley defending his belt going up to fight Ilia Topuria.
Right, but I feel like...
Oh, you're saying to lose it to her?
Just, I think both champs
should defend.
Whoever's challenging. Yeah, if Sean comes up after he defends, that's okay. You know?
I would be... right now, in my mind, it's the most exciting fight in the UFC I could think of.
Yeah.
2 guys who are rising stars, to see them clash in the octagon for the possibility of Sean O'Malley going for double champ status, it seems like it would be the most exciting fight to watch. Yeah. But then we have the Brandons, the battle of the Brandons.
The battle of the little Brandons.
Yeah, no. Brandon Moreno versus Brandon Royval for the flyweight title. For the flyweight #1 contendership. And this one goes to a split decision, and Royval takes it.
I think it should have been unanimous, honestly. I think Royval took at least 3 rounds.
Yeah.
But, the judges are all over the place. But
there are people who actually had Brandon Moreno winning this fight. It's weird.
I don't understand that. I don't think he was active enough. Royval was in his face the whole time.
Correct.
I think the scrambles went to Royval, too. They didn't have much groundwork going on, but Royval was busy. He did throw a lot of missed strikes, but I don't know. It was all in his face the whole time. I think he fought better.
I know that the one thing I will say is I think Brandon Moreno landed something like 400 significant strikes, or at least 400 strikes. Like, I think that's what they said. I think Brandon landed something like, I was listening to
I
something.
can't believe that he even threw that much. Maybe
unless it was a combined total of 400. Right. Yeah. I thought I heard that from, and I think it was on the Shop Show.
Because it wasn't that busy of a fight.
Yeah. But even in just one bout, two fighters combined for 400 strikes landed. That's something you see thrown, but landed is insane. So, but it was an exciting fight. I do believe Brandon Moreno either was ill prepared or something happened in that day that he just wasn't there to fight.
He didn't push it. And it confused me in the later rounds that he didn't push it 4 and 5.
He did one of the things that confused me is because I love his style because he normally hangs his head out there with his arms down a little bit.
He didn't get dirty enough.
And that's how he really gets the fighter to come into him, and it felt like he wasn't fighting like Brandon Moreno, and maybe he's just coming towards that part of his career where the guys have surpassed him,
and where you don't want to take that damage anymore. I feel you have wars like that for years, and you just come to a point like I don't want to get hit like I used to get hit, and his style is more of a stay in the pocket, and he lands the third and fourth strike in the combination. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but he's got to eat the first two from the other dude.
Which he can, though.
Right, but for how many years?
And then, with Royval winning this fight, some would say maybe it's time for him to get that rematch, but he did just fight him, and he did just lose. I would like to see Amir Abizi take on Royval for the contendership.
Yeah, okay, I agree. Because Moreno was supposed to fight Albazi.
Yes.
So why not? Yeah, I agree. Albazi hasn't had his shot at Pantoja, and that's a good one.
And it gives him an opportunity to show that he deserves to fight for the belt, and that's an exciting fight for me.
Right, and Royval had his chance and lost, so I agree.
But either way, we do need to get Pantoja back in there to defend his belt. But let's move on to the UFC Fight Night: Rozenstruik versus Gaziev.
Yes, Gaziev.
We started off the night with Abdul Karim El Selwadi, long name, versus Loic Radzhabov. I don't know. This was a KO, third round KO. Only 49 seconds left. That's a tough one to take.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I don't remember it at all. I don't think I watched it. Then we had in the lightweight division Ludovic Klein versus Al Cunningham.
Yeah, Ludovic Klein looked great.
Yeah, first round knockout.
Put it on him. Dude, outclassed. Yeah, looked great. Round 1 KO.
And then we had Christian Leroy Duncan versus Claudio Ribeiro.
Yeah, CLD, man. Christian Leroy Duncan, be on the lookout for him. Masterclass in that fight.
Oh, my God. I saw this fight. This was an excellent fight. Second round
he wanted.
TKO, yeah.
Did whatever he wanted until he finished him.
It was a pretty dope fight. This one was awesome. It was definitely a surprise. Is Almain Zahabi versus Javid Bashrat. And this was awesome. Bashrat came in undefeated, the favorite. Yep. Almeida looked to be struggling in the first round, but it goes to a unanimous decision.
Yeah, good fights from the young kids in this one. I really like this card for the young ones. The prelims was better than everything.
Yeah, this was a dope fight. And then you had probably fight of the night. Definitely got fight of the night, or fight of the night and performance of the night. Vinicius Oliveira versus Bernardo Sopage,
as they said, back and forth. You remember, it was crazy.
Yeah, this was an insane
Couldn't
fight.
tell who was going to win until the last round when Oliveira starts pulling away.
Yeah.
Sopage, his leg was destroyed, getting hurt.
He looked so good in the first round, though.
He did.
So good, so tough.
But then he eats that big leg kick in the third and stumbles away, hobbles away, looks over to the clock real quick, and there comes Oliveira with the flying knee.
Oh my God! It was so. My biggest thing from this is Sopage clearly has not worked on his gas tank because Vinicius turns him around in the reverses the takedown in the first, either the first or the second. I'm not really sure. Second round, reverses the takedown, a lot of top control, and when Sopage goes back to his corner, he looks like a man who is roasted, completely and utterly done.
Yeah.
Can barely take any coaching from the corner. Like you can see, he wants to be out of there, and comes in the second round. I'll give him credit. He did not give up.
No.
He got the heart of a lion.
But then the third round was all damage.
Yeah.
You know, all he did was take damage.
Damage
Poor
after
leg.
damage.
Yeah.
And to eat the most vicious flying knee
Yeah.
that we've seen since Jorge Masvidal.
If he didn't, it would have been a leg kick TKO because
Yeah.
he was falling over from
Oh,
the
man.
kick. And
It was brutal.
But he looked up at the clock. Like,
Yeah. Like, when is this going to be over?
when is this going to end? Oh, right now.
Right now.
Right now.
I mean, what a, like, I always give, when a fighter lands a jumping or flying knee
Yeah.
so perfectly that you knock someone out, to me, personally, that is the most impressive strike
It's one of my
I ever
favorites.
see.
Yeah.
Because, like, I get it. He was, he gets turned around by the leg kick, gets clipped a little bit, stumbles into the corner, looks up, and Vinicius runs up, flying knee, perfectly landed on the chin. And you could say what you want, but that was execution.
Yeah.
You could say that it just so happened to land there, but that was execution. And man,
Yeah.
talk about the shadow realm. He
Yeah.
face planted.
It was the most entertaining fight of the night.
Oh,
too.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so disgusting. And then we move on to the main event of the prelims. Eric Anders versus Jamie Pickett. And Anders wins by unanimous decision.
Yeah, Anders, better wrestler.
Yeah.
Grinded him out. Pickett didn't look like he wanted to be there.
No.
Honestly.
He didn't look like he was ready. And he did prove it. After losing the fight, in the press conference, announces he's retiring. So.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't look like he wanted to engage. He did some okay work in there, but Anders ground him out with the wrestling.
Yeah. So then we start the main event. We got Matt Schnell versus Steve Erceg, and performance of the night.
Yeah, performance of the night. They mixed it up in the first round, and I was surprised that Schnell, was getting a little bit of the better of it.
Yes.
He took some shots like always, but he started coming back. But second round, he eats a big shot and goes to bed. Bad.
All he
Yeah.
needed was a pillow and a blanket.
Yeah, he was out bad.
And you didn't even, like, those are the great ones too. Is the ones that you really, really just don't see coming.
Weird one though. Chris Tognoni, the bald referee there. After the fight, he's in Schnell's corner, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know what was worse, the punch or your head hitting the canvas." He said to Schnell. Weird thing to say to a fighter post KO, and then and Schnell's like looking at him like he doesn't know what he said.
Yeah, no.
And he was like, "You'll see it in the footage." Like, he said that to Schnell. Like,
So was Tognoni just clowning?
I don't know. Like,
Yo.
Inadvertent roast by Chris Tognoni.
Verton roast?
Or maybe. Because he did chuckle a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was like a nervous chuckle. Like,
Maybe they know each other.
Weird moment.
Maybe there's
Weird
like
moment.
some sort of.
The corner man, though, was looking at him like, what? Man? What?
That's awesome.
It was strange.
That's so awesome. All right, and then in the bantamweight division, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Bekzat Almakhan. Yeah.
Almakhan. Yeah, Umar looks good, man. He's a threat in that division.
Yeah, super scary. I like that Sean O'Malley kind of gave him his flowers. He said that, he's a dominant fighter, and if he becomes a star, that's a fight he wants. And to want that fight, I feel like that shows championship mindset. Like, to
Right.
be like, this is a dude who comes from a camp that doesn't lose.
With the scary wrestling, too.
And he's like, you win a couple more fights against some big name guys, and I want to fight you. So we'll see how that goes. And then in the flyweight division, Alex Perez versus Muhammad Makayev, and Makayev takes a unanimous decision.
Yeah, a little lackluster. Makayev had a bad weight cut. They looked, a little tired, both of them. But decent by Makayev.
All right. And then in the light heavyweight division, Victor Petrino versus Tyson Pedro.
Yeah, Tyson Pedro didn't have much for Petrino. It was just solid work. Nothing flashy really. But Pedro. A little sad to see him go, hanging up the gloves at the end. But
he said he wants to spend more time with his family.
Right.
I respect a guy who can say, you know what. I'm not going to get to that place I want to get to, and I don't want to keep getting punched in the head. So let me call it quits.
And expressing that he just wasn't making the money.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
You know, all the best to him. Though,
And
sure.
who knows? Maybe he's going to be one of those fighters who ends up at the PFL, or maybe he ends up at bare knuckle or something. Maybe he just really wants to make more money. And I know there are fighters who some fighters just want to fight even though they're not making the money because it's the UFC, and some guys are like, no. I need the bread.
Yeah, I
need the bread. Actually, Brandon Schaub was saying that about in Game Bread. He said every fighter he talked about, it was not when asked why they're fighting, it wasn't like I want to be the best in the world. I wanna see how I stand up.
Yeah.
It was I need money to eat.
I have to eat.
Yeah. That's like and those are the guys who are the most dangerous. The guy who says
so.
I need to win to put food on my table.
I agree.
All right, so let's go to this last fight: Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Shamil Gaziev.
Gaziev looked okay early on. Looked like a threat, but Rozenstruik distanced him well. Started landing the jab. He was real reserved, though. Started opening up late, though.
Yeah.
Started putting some combinations on him. Busted up dude's eye. He couldn't see no more after at the end of the fourth round. He chose not to continue.
Well, it was funny, too, because the ref had to force his corner to be like, what did he say to you?
Hats off to Goddard on that one.
Yeah.
Mark Goddard forced him to translate it because he could tell that Gaziev didn't want to continue.
Yeah.
You could tell by his body language.
Exactly.
You could see he's speaking whatever language.
Mm-hmm.
And his cornermen were trying to just make him go.
Yeah. So much respect
and
to
as soon as he translated it to like he says he can't see, Goddard was like, okay, it's over.
Done.
Because he could tell he didn't want to fight.
All right, so real quickly before we run out of time, let's talk about UFC 200 for a little bit. We have the champ, Sean O'Malley.
299?
Yeah, 299, taking on Chito Marlon Vera for the second time, wanting a little bit of justice. It doesn't seem like a championship fight, but it does seem like an exciting fight, a fun fight.
No, I agree. Beware the upset in this one, I think.
Okay.
It seems like Sean O'Malley's path to real superstardom if he wins, but he's got to win it.
Yeah. The two of them have a longer leg than Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy length.
Giant bantamweights.
The fight I'm most excited for is this next one, the co-main event, Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint Denis.
Yeah.
Very much a fork in the road fight. If Dustin doesn't win, it changes his trajectory in a very bad way. And if Benoit Saint Denis does win, it changes the trajectory of his career in a huge way.
Right, whereas a loss to Dustin Poirier doesn't hurt Saint Denis that much.
It just starts him over, not a big reset,
but a
just
win.
A slight.
A win puts him in title contention.
Absolutely. This is gonna be this is a dangerous fight for Dustin Poirier, but let's not get it twisted. This is a dangerous fight for Benoit Saint Denis.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Don't count the diamond. Now he's still the diamond.
100%. Probably the most entertaining fight of the night.
Very well could be.
Goes to the two biggest mouths in combat sports, Kevin Holland versus the newcomer, Michael Venom Page from Bellator.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I hope that MVP does his taunting and flashing and Holland does his talking.
Yeah.
And we'll get a fun one for sure.
This is gonna be a masterclass in striking.
And it's a good skills matchup.
Yes. Masterclass in striking. Also, we have Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. This is a very good fight as well.
I think it's a very good fight to see, who's right there at like number 4 and 5 in the welterweight division.
And this is once again another one of those fights. Gilbert Burns got to win this fight to keep himself in the top of the pack, and Jack needs to win this fight to propel himself to title contention.
Kind of like this, the bantamweight fight we got here with Petr Yan and Song Yadong, I think.
Same type of situation. Yeah. Petr Yan, he don't win this fight, he's 100% out of title contention.
Right.
Song Yadong wins, and he's on his road right to the top.
Absolutely.
And this is a super exciting matchup. And it doesn't get any less exciting when you get to the prelims. Curtis Blades versus Almeida?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
like,
great fight.
Two guys who are really good grapplers, but one guy who can put you to sleep in Almeida. And then Caitlin
Kukajian.
Kukajian,
Yeah.
no longer Kukajian, Chermanin, whatever her last name is, versus
Yeah.
Macy Barber.
Yeah.
This is an exciting bout as well.
Another of the same style bout.
Yeah.
Does Kukajian fall down? Does Barber climb to the top?
And that could be that's great
That's
for
like
everybody.
that's like the theme of the card.
Yes.
Same here with Mateusz Gamrot versus Rafael dos Anjos.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Guys who are going for that contention and guys who can get knocked out of it completely. And then Pedro Munoz versus Kyler
Same thing.
Phillips.
Kyler
Same
Phillips.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Not in the propelled to top 5, but same thing. Changes your career trajectory.
some people have said that this fight is better than UFC 300.
This
and
card
it's,
is crazy.
and it's an argument. It's
Yeah.
a true argument that
card
could
is
be
crazy.
made.
Yeah.
And it definitely is a better main card than an entire fight.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the card we've been waiting for. Super excited. Can't wait to watch it and then talk about what happened.
Serious.
But we have definitely run out of time.
And check out ONE FC this Friday. They got kickboxing and Muay Thai again.
Yeah. And I hope you guys watch PFL Paris. It is on right now while we're filming. But next week we'll be here. I promise you. And we just have more exciting news and stuff to watch. Please check us out on YouTube, Gym Bag Entertainment. Check us out on Spotify as well, Gym Bag Entertainment. Check out our socials, Gym Bag Entertainment on Facebook, on Instagram. And we have Taylor the Tape on Facebook
and
as well.
Instagram
And
as well.
Instagram. So check us out. We'll be there. If you have any questions, you want to, have some suggestions
Interact,
for us,
right?
interact with us. We would love to
shoot
hear
us
what
a
you have to
comment.
say.
Yeah.
But until next week, we'll see you. Have a good night.
Peace.